Welcome one and all to my small corner of the internet. I'm Balforg the Gaming Bullfrog, and I'm here to bring you a tutorial to Arma 3's King of the Hill multiplayer mode. This is an amazing multiplayer game style, and it can be a ton of fun, however, a little bit daunting for new players. I'm here to bring you a few tips and tricks for new players, old players, and people just looking to get the best experience out of King of the Hill for themselves. Once you've connected to a server that you like, you'll see on the left Op4, Blue4, and Independent. These are the teams with the number of players listed on them. You can see the names of the players and open slots available on the teams. Select one that you prefer and begin. Hit purchase when you see this window to get your TRG-21. It's a 5.56 fully automatic assault rifle. You will not have a sight for your weapon at this point. You will have to unlock that later on, but if you work as a productive teammate and work for the objectives, then you'll have no problem progressing on to later levels where you can unlock sights and other things, which we'll cover in just a second. To begin with, you'll probably want to at least glance at the loadout station. This is where you will see all available weapons and launchers and scopes and handguns available at your level. Get a good plan for what you want to progress with, because there is an option to permanently buy for a significant amount of money. You will be able to get scopes later on. You'll start with the iron sights, move on to a one-time scope at your preference if you care to spend money on it, and then move on to the designated marksman rifle scopes and the variable scopes that are later on down the line. I highly recommend waiting for a 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 variable scope. I'm going to go ahead and buy the Titan launcher for AA here, and so we move on to perks. Perks are equipable specialties that allow you to specialize your character a little bit more. Maybe you want to revive players faster, or move a little bit easier without fatigue, stuff like that. There are skins that you can choose, different camouflages at different levels that'll make it easier progressing through the city. Now that you have your gear, you can head along on one of the transport choppers that are always coming and going by other players. Transporting is an effective way of getting experience and money, because every time you land a chopper or a vehicle into an area, you get money and experience for infiltrating the zone. Paradropping happens when you're 100 meters above the ground and you eject from a helicopter or a plane. You're automatically given a parachute once you've fallen for a little while, and it gives a lot less money when you're in a chopper if you allow the people to paradrop, but it can be a little bit safer. Hopefully you have a good pilot who can get you on the deck without any issues, but you are going to need to think about springing into action straight away when you hit the ground. As you can see, there's an off-road just over to our left and behind us who is player controlled, and we're going to need to worry about him almost immediately. So find yourself a little bit of cover, survey your area around you, and make sure that you're going to be safe for a while. more likely than not, you're going to be dropped into an area that is hotly contested. So keeping on the move and keeping your eyes open is going to be very important. Follow your teammates, and make sure that you know what you're going to try to accomplish with them, such as covering them and reviving, or laying down suppressing fire while you're there. But a major importance that you can do as a player is just be inside that little red circle on the map. You can see on my mini-map in the right, I have my GPS open. You can access that via right control M. And as you can see right now, the area is under Op4 control, so that's our control. In the bottom right, you can see the blue, red, and green boxes. Those are representative of the teams. The numbers within those larger boxes are the points out of 100 that the teams have progressed towards winning. The smaller boxes above that tile indicates the number of players on that team that are in the zone currently. So it goes up to a maximum of 10, and then the 10th box will have a little plus if there are more than 10 in the zone. And you can see on the map that oftentimes players will mark enemy positions, so checking your map frequently is going to be very valuable for intelligence, keeping an eye out for flanking enemies, and you can mark your own positions to help out other teammates. I'm playing as a bit of a lone wolf today, so I will not be as communicative with my team as as it should be, but you can kind of do the best of both worlds. Try and stay low when moving around, and use your look key to survey the area. If you know you're in a good position, you can take suppressing fire at people. Assists get you levels, and hugging the corners of walls, not staying out in the open are all ways of prolonging your life while inside the zone of contention. I try to always look for places that I can have an altitude advantage over my enemies. I can look down on people, take a little bit extra cover. I did see a guy go up into Tower 4 earlier, so I'm watching that like a hawk. But I'm also keeping an eye out on the rest of the roads, the buildings, whatever might come around, just to make sure that I'm not going to be putting myself in too much of a heated position. Coming up on bodies that have loot on them is great, because oftentimes they're going to have a little bit better gear than you, and it's gear that you don't have to pay for. So if you don't get the inventory icon right away, just kind of look around a little bit, use your action menu to kind of wiggle around and get the correct positioning. I picked up his anti-aircraft missile, and now that I'm up top on this little corner balcony here, I am just going to wait. Remember, this is not Call of Duty, this is not Battlefield. Camping is part of the affair. Your goal is to capture this single zone of action, and you need to just be a body within this zone in order to capture it. So it is perfectly fair to find a spot that is yours and yours alone to wait it out. Just taking a few little pot shots at enemies coming in on parachutes. Always make sure to lead your targets. The ballistics in this are fairly accurate. It's not like the crazy bullet drop on Battlefield, and it's not going to shoot lasers like in Call of Duty. Um, it's going to have a fairly consistent bullet arc. You can see that some guys hiding behind that concession stand up there. I'm just going to wait for him while making sure that nobody else is coming up into the area. But unfortunately, he does take out one of my allies. He thinks now that it's an okay time to push up, but I'm ready for him, and after spraying a little bit, he does go down. So after I take him out, I don't want to stick around for too much longer and get grenaded or anything like that. I got stuck on the stairs there. If you do get stuck, which you might quite frequently, it happens in Arma, press the V key to vault over it. It usually gets you unstuck. If you do come across a weapon with a variable scope, holding control will change that. Hip firing. You just saw it right there. It works. It's not a crazy spray. If you have a gun at your hip and you know where the barrel is, you should be able to point that thing relatively straight. And that's what your character models in this game. That wraps up the basics of Arma 3 King of the Hill. With this information, you should be able to get out there and get into the action in order to achieve your first few levels. Try out scopes before you buy them, and note that you will have to re-buy them for every new weapon you get. I wish you all the happy hunting and the best of luck. See you in the next chapter.